By Abdarum Musa Jibro. He is the chairperson of the Oromo People's Association in South Africa. We also have Mr. Mohammed Dahir Adan. He is the director of Ogaden Somalia in South Africa. And we're also joined in studio by Mr. Dereje Mekonnen Afana, who is the general secretary of Ethiopian Community Association here in South Africa. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here on Africa Tonight.
You're welcome.
Now, perhaps just to give a background to our viewers and to gain perspective and context of the issues that we'll be discussing tonight, maybe you could start by telling us the contention between the protesters and the Ethiopian government. I'll start with you, sir.
The contention between the Ethiopian government and the protesters, it is the grievance that the people have got accumulating years back since the TPLF ruling party came onto the power, and that is what is make the people, actually they are not representing a genuine democratic in the country, and people are frustrating about that, and they actually uprising what they see, and lack of service delivering, in lack of constitutional interpretations, and there is no actually genuine practical democratic in the country.
Right. Mr. Fana, do you agree with this? I understand these tribal issues that could be, understated, that the world might not be aware of. You can explain this better. The tribes that come into play, the ones that are in power, that you claim that the government is perpetuating. And we see that there a certain tribe that is being marginalized by the government.
Of course, since the 1991 that the TPLF-led regime come to power, it's institutes that ethnic lines of politics, and it systematically take the advantage of the other tribe, instituting of its puppets, ethnic political parties, and lead the countries to the worst scenarios. On your beginning, as you mentioned, that there is economical achievement and economical progress in Ethiopia and stuff, but the truth and the facts in the ground that this is benefited only that the Tigrayan peoples who are attached to the Tigrayan Liberation Front, the TPLF-led regime, not the other tribes or the other peoples in Ethiopia. Currently, that the accumulated oppression and subjection of the TPLF for the past 25 years brought the civil unrest in Ethiopia, and in Amara region, in Ogaden, in Oromia regions the peoples are uprising, and it calls enough is enough.
Right, the TPLF obviously being the ruling party that we're speaking of here. Let's get an understanding of how widespread these demonstrations are. I'll bring into the conversation Mr. Jibro. Perhaps you could tell us exactly where these protests are and why in those particular areas that we're seeing the civil unrest in Ethiopia.
Thank you very much, actually. And I wanted to contest two words you used.
Yes.
One, the growth of Ethiopia. It is lies. It has never been at such a growth which benefits the citizens. I contest.
Right, so the growth is there essentially, but it hasn't benefited the residents. This is what you're arguing.
Totally, it was very small portion of the growth we are talking about. Only at this end of the major cities to show the world that Ethiopia is growing for their benefit, for political benefits. And
when you say for their benefit, who exactly are you talking about?
Exactly, I'm talking about the ruling party, EPRDF, the TPLF, which are representing only the minority groups in Ethiopia. And secondly, we are not talking about tribes. Tribes means the minor things in the society in Ethiopia. But once we talk about Oromo, Ogaden, Amhara, and so on, we are talking about the nations which have been oppressed within one basket and being called tribes and the tribes and the tribes. That is why totally more than 45 to 50 million Oromo people being degraded into tribes, which is itself, it's got thousands of tribes within itself. So one thing, I disagree with that. Second things, and this issue of uprising, actually it goes back to 1886 from the formation of Ethiopian and from the formation of Ethiopian empire. And in that sense, Oromo being oppressed, being brought into...
Yes, I'll give you a chance to switch off your phone, sir, as we continue with our discussion. Perhaps as we're doing that, let's speak of the section 39 of the 1994 Constitution. I know that, is it the Oromos who, and the other tribes that have been fighting to have their own freedom, so to speak, so they can rule themselves. Perhaps you could explain that to us, sir, exactly how far that has come and how it came about that they want this autonomy.
Okay, thank you so much. Actually, before the constitution of the country, there was a charter that they given the country in a period of 2 years, transition government. They were ruling charters, the document calling a charter. Charter means that, the people, representative of the peoples, came together and decide to use this document, transitional period. And that charters allow the people to actually have an independent state, even if they want it. And that's where the Eritrean used that opportunity and apply it and got the independence from the Ethiopia. But there was other profession, other also ethnics that wanted to have the same, but ruling about handled the matter differently. Like Ogaden people asking the TPLF or EPRDF, the ruling party, to allow them to have self-determinations. But the ruling party actually came iron fist and apply the actual military rule, and they abuse the people, abuse the power, killing people, and so forth and so on.
I'm curious to find out where the opposition parties come into place here, Mr. Fana, because it appears you say the government is ruling with an iron fist. Where is the opposition? And I understand also there's a Berunu Nega, I think he's leading some kind of a rebel group in trying to topple the Ethiopian government. Where does he fit into the picture? And where is he? Why is he not joining opposition party? Is he in Ethiopia? Is he in exile in another country? What kind of influence does he have on the Ethiopian government?
Okay, yeah, if you go to see the Ethiopian politics history, that the opposition political parties are systematically chased out by the ruling party for various reasons and operations against the system. Right. When you come to Professor Brahanu Naga, who's leading the Gumbot 7 political party movement, he was an elected mayor of Addis Ababa in 2005, May 2005 election, and he was make a coalition and defeat the 2005 May election win, which is won by the oppositions. But the TPLF systematically raised the election and took them out from the government system, the parliamentary system, and jailed them until 2007. Then Professor Brahanaga and many other political parties learned that the system, the TPLF system, which is trying to chasing them out from the opposition movement, and they established that a movement called Gumbot 7, G7.
Yes, which is the name of the rebel group that it is. I'll ask you to hold on to your thoughts, Mr. Fana. We have opened our phone lines to our viewers at home, and let's find out what some of you have to say. We have a caller from Pumalanga. Washim, very good evening to you. Thank you for joining us. What are your thoughts with regards to the issue of Ethiopia and the civil unrest that we have been seeing? Washim, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead with your comment or question.
Okay, thank you for letting me to make really this lovely debate, to participate in this debate, right? However, this gentleman's representing, especially the man in the middle, the Raje, he's representing the Ethiopian community. However, he make a comment saying the government of Ethiopia. But let me just start by saying, actually, I'm definitely one of against what the government is doing to my people in Ethiopia. because there is no democracy. It's a Republic of Democratic of Ethiopia, but there is no democracy. That is why we all fled our country, and then we are seeking asylum in South Africa. I'm one of them. I'm staying here. However, what Dereje is saying is only the Tigray people benefit from the current government is very wrong of him.
And why do you say this, Washim?
Because one of the Tigray people are one of the suffering in this situation.
Right. Well, thank you.
The Tigray people are also the victim of this killing and then whatever is happening in the country. They are not the beneficiary. So if the Dereje is representing the Ethiopian community, he doesn't have to exclude the Tigray people and then say the Tigray people. It's not about Tigray or Oromo or Gaden or Amhara. The two gentlemen with him now, did say it's not about the tribes. It's about Ethiopia to be one. All of us to be one and fight the current government, which is killing our brothers and sisters and making our voice to be not heard in the world. Every time a journalist or anybody complain about the government throw them in jail.
Right, Washim, thank you for your thoughts. We have to make time for other callers as well. We appreciate your contribution. We have Kefus on the line as well. Kefus, thank you for joining us. What are your comments?
Hello, I just want to know, these gentlemen are from a country that is home to Africa's continental parliament. Hello?
Yes, Kefus, you can go ahead. We can hear you loud and...
I just want to know, is AU not helping them? Because they are from a country that's the home of AU. So are they saying AU is not helping them in any way? Because I'm sure the AU is just a walk away from their offices. Otherwise, if the AU is not helping them, then that's an embarrassment. Thank you.
Thank you for your call. Let me bring back the conversation to you, gentlemen. I don't know if you managed to listen to what our callers are saying. They're not all in agreement with you. Some saying that this is not about tribes, which is what you alluded to, sir, initially. But they say that the fact that you think that it's only the one tribe that is benefiting from the government is not completely true. I'll ask you to think on that, and then perhaps you can respond on that as we take another caller. Yes, please go ahead with your thoughts. Hello, Abdi, are you on the line? Oh, we seem to have lost that caller. Gentlemen, we can proceed with our conversation. What are your thoughts? I think one was directed to you, Mr. Fana.
Okay, if you see deep down, typically that's the Ethiopian politics, that who's benefited, it is black and white. I mean that like not all the Tigrayan peoples are benefited out of the government system, but the Tigrayans who are allies with the party are benefited. Economically, they are benefited. If you go to in one street that you see like a civil servant having a lot of buildings from Mescal Square until you reach to Meganaya, left and right over 40 buildings, it's owned by civil servants. And there is a serious corruption in the country, there is a serious nepotism, there is a serious maladministration, and there is no good governance in that country. And this all comes because the minorities are hand in hand to use the system and to be benefited economically. Ethiopians, traders, business peoples came out systematically by benefiting the TPLF allied Tigrayans that they are not tax evaded, they are not getting, they are not any...
Let's get a comment from Mr. Jibro. One of the callers, they're saying that your comments are not really accurate and that they have the potential to destabilize Ethiopia. The fact that obviously the AU headquarters are in Ethiopia and apparently the country is benefiting from that. What are your thoughts?
Okay, being AU office in Addis Ababa or in Finfinne, it doesn't mean that it looks over everything and sees the details of what is really happening in the city on the ground. And for that sense, actually that Addis Ababa and in Oromo Finfinne, it is the land of Oromo. Majority in that land, in that city is okay, it is like Rainbow Nation. Everybody is existed in that city, but the surrounding are filled with Oromo farmers, and those Oromo farmers been eradicated forcefully to lose their land and without any compensation and sent away. And some of them, they remain beggars anywhere in the country, in Oromia land. Some of them, they left the country because of that. Then AU doesn't know about this. And it is the only cheapest land in the land this century was in Ethiopia, which is one square is $1. Right. They call it green opportunity.
Yes, Mr. Jibro. Obviously, the issue of land is a very contentious issue in Ethiopia. I want us to revisit that point as soon as we finish talking to a caller who's on the line. Pfizer from KwaZulu-Natal, thank you for joining us. What are your comments or question?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Pfizer, please go ahead. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, great. No, I just want to put a couple of comments. One is the current situation is actually hunting the running government. It's coined by its own time. By the time it occupies and starts governing the country, it divided the people of Ethiopia into tribal areas. And that time it was easy for the running party to run into a tribal state so that you can divide the state. Then, yes, that is hunting him down now. But I disagree with the panel that there's no improvement with the economic environment. There has been significant improvement in terms of infrastructure, in terms of universities, in terms of banking system. There has been significant improvement. Let's not disagree with that. Yes, probably the area run by, let's say, the Tigrayan people probably has benefited more than the others.
Pfizer, thank you so much. Thank you for your comments. We have Skimnia from Johannesburg. Please go ahead with your comment.
That's Tigrayan community representative. When he says the Tigray people, the Tigray people who's benefiting from there.
Skimmy, I think your line is not very clear. We'll try and repatch you and see if we can understand what your comment or question was.
But there is the Tigray people.
Let that go. Gentlemen, let's go back to the land issue that we're talking about, Mr. Jibra, a very contentious issue. Allegations of corruption that are happening not just in the private sector, but in the public sector as well. And, with land, that's where, mostly politics will use that as a form of exchange and to hold on to political power. What issues have you been having? You have said that the Omori people are the ones who own most of the land. Tell us what issues surround that topic.
Actually, the land issue is a very terrible issue. It is which ignited this current movement, this current situation, which is called Oromo Major Uprising. And it is continuing the last 11 months now. And this thing comes when the Addis Ababa expansion came into practical. Then they said they extend Addis from the center to 100 kilometer every corner, all the four corners, whereby all the Oromo peasants, the farmers, being affected by that Addis Ababa master plan.
Right, so there's no land market in these areas that we speak of, which makes it very difficult if, one wants to voluntarily sell or buy their land, and then this is what causes this contention that is happening?
In this case, actually, there is no land which is voluntarily somebody decided to sell, but the eradication, forcible removal from the owners, either it is building on it or either it is a farm on it. So people they were using for their own life, from the ancestors, that is where they're born, where they're being brought up, then being removed from it without any proper compensation. That is what ignited this uprising.
And Mr. Adan, one of the callers said that we need to appreciate the progress that has been made in Ethiopia. Yes, there's a few issues here and there, but most of it is sensationalized. And this is exactly the kind of reaction that we've been getting from the Ethiopian government, from the reports that we have seen, that most of these protests are actually a social media phenomenon. It is not something real that is happening on the ground. What is your reaction to that?
Actually, there's a historical Ethiopian denying the rights of the citizens, and it's a part of the state missionary propaganda that wanted to actually eliminate any information that leaking from in the country to outside. And it is historically, this is happening on the ground, and the people took the pictures, their cell phones, and they're sending and sharing it to the others because of the, the technology that gives the people opportunity. Right. It is not, something that they can deny it right now. People are dying.
Can you verify these pictures that you speak of and the videos of brutality and heavy-handedness from the government, obviously the police and the army that reports to the government?
There are many people that we can verify it because we know the people, we know the families, we know where they are. So we can verify them.
Right. Let's hear from Danaka, who's on the phone line, calling us from Johannesburg. Thank you so much for taking part in this conversation. What are your thoughts or questions?
Very much for the opportunity. I'm not happy what's happening in Ethiopia. Of course, the people have died. Now the government is trying to deal and have convening different peace conference with teachers, with different stakeholders. But this, given this is a fact, and I'm interested if you ask your guests the last time they left the country, when they denied the economic progress that the whole world is witnessing, that Ethiopia experiences double-digit economic growth, averaging 10.8 since 2005. This is the African Development Bank Group report, the recent Ethiopian Economic Outlook report. So it's a very shame to see this denial by Ethiopians themselves. They call they are Ethiopians. All worlds are witnessing. Ethiopia have established the best infrastructure under the sub-Saharan Africans. The first.
Anaka, thank you. I'm sorry we have run out of time. I think we have gotten the gist of your comment. We really appreciate you taking part in this conversation. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here in Africa Tonight. We certainly appreciate it. Well, that's all the time we had for Africa Tonight. Thank you to all our viewers and all those that called in and gave us their contribution. A quick reminder of who we had in the studio, Mr. Abduram Musa Jibro, who's the chairperson of the Oromo People's Association here in South Africa, and also Mr. Mohammed Daher Adan joined us. He is the director of the Ogaden Somalia, again here in South Africa, and Mr. Dereje Mekonen Afana, who is the general secretary of the Ethiopian Community Association, again here in South Africa. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good night.